If you're like me, you have plenty of old Raspberry Pis lying around the house. The models I'm talking about are mostly Raspberry Pi 1s and 2s. Some of them have the analog video output, and some of them use the older, bigger SD card. They are old, yeah, but they are not outdated and definitely not obsolete, since there are a ton of different use cases for these tiny computers. Here are my personal top 5 project ideas you can do with older Raspberry Pi models. But first, let's look at the computer boards themselves and let's determine some common limitations these devices have. The CPUs in these devices are mostly single or dual core, with around 1 GHz clock speed. So more demanding, high thread count applications are out of the question, but there are still plenty of other things we can process. RAM is also limited, around 256 to 512 MB usually, so no memory heavy apps either. Sorry Chrome. Video output is possible, but usually these older Raspberry Pis have bad or no hardware acceleration for video at all, so I would personally not bother with it. In similar vein, advanced 3D graphics can be done, but the performance is gonna be truly lackluster. Connectivity wise, these old devices do not have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi out of the box, so if you need, for example, network access, you are pretty much limited to Ethernet by default. That said, you can always install a third-party USB Wi-Fi or Bluetooth dongle. Speaking of USB, one less known limitation of these older Raspberry Pi models is that all of the USB ports and the Ethernet port share the same root USB bus. And since the root USB bus is 2.0, it means that you can get maximum speed of 480 megabits per second, shared with all of the ports, including the Ethernet. So I would personally not recommend anything heavy network usage with the Ethernet port. But now, onto the list. Here are my personal top 5 project ideas. Number 5. Surveillance camera. For this project, you will need just a Raspberry Pi and a supported camera. The camera can be either one of the official models connected via the camera connector on the board, or you can use pretty much any off-the-shelf webcams too. You can either save the images or video directly to the memory card on the device, or if you have a network connection, you can save them to your NAS or even to cloud. Software-wise, there are a couple of options. There's Motion OS, which uses the Motion library for camera operation and provides a web interface called Motion Eye. It has a ton of features. It supports multiple cameras, saving to cloud services, password protection, and like the name implies, it supports motion detection, which is configurable to a great degree. There's also Kerberos, which is more advanced video surveillance and analytics system. It's probably a better fit for you if you have several cameras and need to do more analytics on the video content. Number 4. A digital photo frame. I know I mentioned graphics earlier as being somewhat of a limitation on older Raspberry Pi devices, but outputting single photo images on a display is such a simple task that even these old computers will do just fine. At minimum, you will need a Raspberry Pi and a display. The display screen can be pretty much anything. It can be, for example, the official 7-inch touchscreen, a small 3.5-inch third-party screen, or even any HDMI-capable monitor. There's a ton of options available here. When it comes to tools, most of them are console-based, so you need to have a display plus keyboard combination working, or you can enable the SSH for remote access. Probably the most popular way to display images is using FE or FEH. It's super simple to use and it can display images as a slideshow on pretty much any display. There's also a couple of slideshow projects on GitHub that are especially made for Raspberry Pi. I will link those in the description. Number 3. A weather station. Sensor support via GPIO pins on the Raspberry Pi are a remarkable advantage of the devices. Using sensors and processing the data they produce are also a really low effort for the CPU. So this really is the ideal way to utilize your old Raspberry Pi. There are several weather sensors on the market. I would personally recommend the AHT20 sensors. They are low cost, work with the I2C protocol, and have good sensoring ability. They do not require external power and have a temperature range of -40 degrees to +80 degrees Celsius. There are of course other options like USB-based temperature sensors and the BMP183 sensor. Adafruit has great tutorials on how to use them, so go check them out. So you probably want to view the weather data too, right? Well, there are multiple ways to approach this. You can use a display. There's a project on GitHub called Pi Weather Station that provides an interface for all the weather and mapping data. One other way to access the data is to integrate the data from the sensors to your smart home app, like Home Assistant. Again, there's a project on GitHub that shows you how to do that via MQTT. You could also just read the data from the command line. There are plenty of options. Number 2. Pi-hole adblocking server. Pi-hole seems to be the most popular trending project for Raspberry Pi at the moment. And it's no wonder. The use case for Raspberry Pi is great. It has great support for a multitude of devices, it's easy to install and use, and the benefits speak for itself really. Pi-hole is a server that runs in your network and blocks ads on all of the devices connected to your network. It can block traditional banner ads on websites, and it even blocks video ads on YouTube and Hulu. It does this by running a local DNS server in the network. This server then automatically blocks all requests to known advertising domains, so no device in your network can connect and thus display ads. It also provides a web interface to analyze statistics, monitoring, and changing the ad blocking settings. Pi-hole is super easy to install, and you just need a Raspberry Pi and a network connection for it to work. This is a highly recommended project from me. It can make your internet browsing much faster and a more pleasing experience. Number 1. Backupping and storage server. This is my personal recommendation for the best Raspberry Pi project for older models. You can use Raspberry Pi to back up your other devices in your network, like your desktop PC, home server, or even mobile phone. It's low power usage, since most of the time you just need to idle the Raspberry Pi and occasionally run the backup jobs. For this project you will need a Raspberry Pi, a network connection, and a place where you store your backups. There are a couple of options. You can purchase an external USB storage device. These are fairly inexpensive and easy to find. They are also suitably low power. A more complicated way is to use a NAS, or network attached storage, to store your data. This is more secure, since you can set up redundancy and other security features. These external devices can take quite a lot of power, and they can be pretty noisy too. You could also just use the memory card on the Raspberry Pi for storage, but I would personally avoid this solution, since the memory cards in my experience are pretty fragile and their lifetime is pretty short. Or at least back it up manually to another place once in a while. You can even back up your data to the cloud. Just be sure that you have network bandwidth and storage to do so. When it comes to software, there are a lot of Linux-based backup solutions available. I personally recommend setting up rclone. It's a great little tool that has a ton of configuration options, and it supports all kinds of storage providers like FTP servers, Dropbox, Google Drive, and SMB servers. You can automate the backup tasks to run at intervals you like using cron jobs. If you like web interfaces more, you can use something like RDiff Web that uses RDiff backup on the background and provides a web interface to monitor and configure backup tasks. That's all for now. Hopefully these project ideas inspire you to use your old Raspberry Pi devices. They may be low performance, but they definitely do not belong in a landfill just yet. There are a ton of different use cases for them still. Thanks for watching the video, and on to the next one.